Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today I want to talk about a recent law that passed in the EU. So specifically on the 25th of November, the EU made a ruling that makes pretty much all the European Union countries have to accept that same-sex marriage is equal in their country as well as other countries. This does not mean that every country has to pass their own ruling or that it is sort of they have to do it in their own constitution and etc. Because obviously there's a lot of homophobic, there's a lot of really fucked up countries in the European Union when it comes to these things, but it does make a good step for equality and specifically in same-sex marriages. Now, I feel bad that once I read that, I was really happy to hear that, but at the same time, I was quite depressed and stressed because I was born in Lithuania, and how to put this, homophobia is a very particular issue to me, and specifically growing up and coming from a very homophobic family, it does bother me sort of with the fact that I know that this law will absolutely have shit impact. I do understand that personally I do not talk to my family, and I haven't in years now, uh, due to transphobic reasons, due to homophobic reasons, and I'd say like sometimes the homophobia would pretty much erase sort of even the transphobia that I felt. And the fact that there even properly was transphobia was the fact that I'm still a gay man in a gay relationship. And that's the problem. And I do have to say that even though it's a good ruling, I feel like it's a very sad thing to acknowledge that this has to be done in order for such backwater shit countries to sort of acknowledge the fact that something has to be done in order to at least give people some protection. And this, for instance, can be the case of like similar to like Brazil, for where you have like, for instance, good laws against homophobia, good laws against transphobia, but you still have like an insane amount of trans people murdered. You still have an insane amount of homophobia being happening, and things not even getting reported or being ignored. So I do have to say, for instance, the fact that Lithuania doesn't have like any laws against homophobia or transphobia, but will have sort of illegal blankets is good. But at the same time, it just raises the fact that like different Baltic societies or different homophobic societies in the European Union aren't ready for that step. They aren't ready for normal tolerance. And the problem is like, because back when I still like go and visit my family, I'd be closeted, or I'd really have to like shave and pretend that I'm someone I'm not in order to sort of survive, be there, and etc. And growing up, it was obviously very difficult. And I went into more detail on that, like growing up and older videos, which are probably buried in my channel right now. But the issue is that this is not going to sway families different. Like the comment still remains in my head, and sort of the opinions of people won't change. People will still think like, oh, how will I explain like two men marrying to my children? Or like, how is this acceptable when they believe in a narrow view of religion? And they don't really go into the proper teachings of like, accepting one another and understanding that not everything has to be taken literal by someone specific. I don't know, I just really sat down and I felt very sad about it, because like I moved out like 8 years ago, and it's still very difficult. Like I can't change my name. I can't do anything, and it's like I would want to get married to my partner, but it would have to be under like my birth name, which is not a name I use. And all these things just annoy me even more because, like, right now in the US, obviously it's horrible that trans people can't change their names or their names get reverted back, but it's hard for me to sort of sometimes even feel sympathy for people, because when I'd complain about like not being able to change my name or not being able to get married under my actual name, people would be like, oh, but you can wait like 10 years or whatever, what's the big deal? And now it's like, well, you can wait for another presidency, you know? And the problem is that people don't understand that coming from a country that has deeply rooted homophobia isn't easy, and that it's very difficult to recover from that. Like, I knew growing up that I would not be able to talk to my parents as I would grow up because they would just not accept me. And that is the reality. The reality is that like gay, trans Lithuanians, bisexual Lithuanians have to move out. Trans Lithuanians, we all just move out because HRT was not legal until very, very recent. And even then, I don't know if they actually managed to start educating doctors on how to give out HRT. Because before you'd have to move out, you'd have to get diagnosed abroad, and you'd have to do it all abroad. So there was no provision for someone to even do it safely in the country. And this is what we're talking about, a country which is in the European Union for long, and no one really put pressure on it. And it's really sad that it just doesn't matter, like what I do or say or what you will rule over, because it doesn't change the reality. I just hate sitting here and just like being like, yeah, like my childhood sucked because I had to be like in the closet. I couldn't be gay, I couldn't be trans, I couldn't be myself, and I had to move out. And no one really cares. So yeah, it's pretty difficult to see like these laws being implemented in place and understanding that they won't change jack shit. But still, it's good. It's like, obviously, once you start putting these things in motion, things will slowly, hopefully change. But the fact remains that I do not feel welcome in my birth country. I do not feel welcome by my family, and I haven't for years. I don't want to talk to them. And like, I've heard enough things to last me a lifetime not to talk to them. I don't really know what else to say other than the fact that it's good to have laws, but they won't change shit, because you really need to be working on how the population sees like gay people. You need to be working for making people understand and like having more visibility. But hey, I don't know, maybe something will change. But yeah, anyway, my outlook on Eastern Europe and like Baltic countries, like I do understand sort of like this law ruling, like for instance, like in Poland, where you have way less homophobia, and gay people are treated more or less decently, and you sort of put a blanket law like this so that some gay Polish people get married, then they come back, and then their marriage is just as legally equal as everyone else's. But there you kind of have the facts that people aren't as homophobic, at least from what I've heard of. And in Lithuania, it's like you can get beaten up if you're gay. You can pretty much get like fired, abused, whatever you want, and no one will do jack shit. So that's why sort of putting a big shiny sticker of, yeah, the country has to do it, just also highlights the fact that because there's nothing else in that country which helps gay people, just shows how much of shit it is. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, and this is a very difficult topic for me to talk about, and I have talked about it extensively in the past. So yeah, I'm also pre-filming because I am traveling to see my beautiful in-laws, which are not homophobic and I do enjoy. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit shorter than usual. I've been really appreciating all the love I've been getting, and feel free to subscribe, feel free to share this video, feel free to give it a like, and yeah, let's hope I manage to pre-film all this. Thank you very much.